When I held the hand of the woman I once swore to forget, standing before a room full of people who believed I was her future, I realized that the hardest lie to tell is the one that rescues your broken heart. 5 years ago, I walked away from a life I thought was completely mapped out, carrying the quiet, crushing grief of a love that had collapsed under the weight of pride and unspoken words. Standing in that crowded hotel ballroom, looking into the eyes of Clara, the younger sister of my ex-fiancé, I felt every buried memory rush back like an uninvited tide, threatening to drown the fragile peace I had spent half a decade trying to build. If this story of unexpected healing, quiet grace, and redemption speaks to your soul, please take a quick moment to like this video, drop a comment below, share this story with someone who might be searching for light, and subscribe to our channel if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances. Your support helps us share these powerful human journeys with our growing community every single day. My name is Julian, and for 5 long years, my life was defined by a single, painful departure. I had been engaged to Chloe, a brilliant, ambitious woman whose family carried an air of effortless perfection. We were young, idealistic, and deeply flawed, and when our relationship fractured under the pressure of expectations and miscommunication, it didn't just end quietly, it disintegrated into a messy, bitter silence that severed my ties with everyone connected to her. That included Clara, Chloe's soft-spoken younger sister, who had always been a quiet observer of our turbulent romance. In the years following the breakup, I threw myself into my work as a landscape architect, finding solace in bringing order and natural beauty to forgotten spaces, while carefully protecting my own heart from any vulnerability. So when my phone rang on a bright Tuesday morning and Clara's name flashed across the screen, my entire world momentarily froze in place. Her voice was trembling, stripped of all the poise her family usually demanded. Clara explained that she was facing a nightmare of her own making, months ago, in a desperate attempt to stop her parents and her older sister from pressuring her about her static personal life. She had invented a successful, devoted fiancé named Julian. She had chosen my name in a moment of panic because it was a name her family knew, a ghost from the past they thought was long gone, assuming she would break off the fake engagement before anyone ever demanded to meet him. But now, her cousin was getting married at a grand countryside estate in broad daylight. Her family had insisted she bring her mysterious partner, and the web of lies was about to collapse, threatening to ruin her relationship with her family forever. Clara begged me for just 2 days of my time, pleading for me to play the role of her fiancé during the afternoon festivities, promising that after the Sunday reception, she would gracefully announce our mutual separation and free us both from the charade. Driven by a mix of old loyalty, lingering affection for a girl who had once felt like a younger sister, and a strange, unexplainable tug at my conscience, I found myself driving up the sun-drenched coastal highway the following Saturday morning. The estate was breathtaking, framed by rolling green hills, blooming hydrangeas, and sparkling glass pavilions bathed in the warm summer light. The plan was simple: arrive before noon, attend the outdoor luncheon and afternoon garden ceremony as Clara's loving partner, maintain a polite distance from Chloe, and leave quietly after the daytime celebration concluded. But fate, as it so often does, shifted the ground beneath our feet the moment we stepped into the hotel lobby to check into our temporary quarters. Through a logistical nightmare caused by a massive summer conference, the boutique hotel had accidentally cancelled Clara's separate reservation, leaving only one standard room available for the weekend, a room equipped with a single, plush king-sized bed. Standing in the sunlit lobby, bathed in the golden afternoon rays filtering through the tall glass windows, Clara turned pale as the front desk clerk apologized profusely for the mistake. We couldn't ask for another room without raising immediate suspicion from her family, who were already mingling in the adjacent courtyard glasshouse. We were suddenly trapped in a living arrangement that forced an overwhelming, inescapable proximity, turning a simple daytime act into a deeply intimate, high-stakes ordeal. As we brought our bags up to the bright, sun-filled room, the air was heavy with an undeniable tension that had nothing to do with anger and everything to do with the quiet truth we were both trying to avoid. Clara was no longer the shy teenager I remembered from my past. She had grown into a remarkably grounded, empathetic woman who carried herself with a gentle dignity that stood in stark contrast to the performative perfection of her family. Sitting on the edge of that single bed under the bright midday light, she looked at me with sincere eyes and apologized for pulling me into her mess. In that quiet room, bathed in the clarity of the afternoon sun, we laid down our initial guards, speaking candidly about the years that had passed, the regrets we both harbored, and the strange ways life brings people back together when they least expect it. When we stepped out into the blinding afternoon sunshine to join the wedding festivities, the performance began. Holding Clara's hand felt surprisingly natural, a warm anchor amid the cold, critical gazes of her family. When Chloe saw us walking together across the pristine lawn, her expression was a complex tapestry of shock, confusion, and subtle resentment. She approached us under the white shade of the garden canopy, her eyes darting between my face and Clara's tightly clasped hands. With remarkable grace and unwavering composure, Clara stood tall, smiling softly as she introduced me as her partner, handling her sister's sharp, probing questions with a calm confidence that mesmerized me. For the first time in my life, I wasn't intimidated by her family's shadow. I felt an overwhelming urge to protect Clara, to stand beside her not as an actor playing a script, but as a man who genuinely admired the incredible woman she had become. Throughout the afternoon, as the sun climbed to its peak and cast a bright, revealing glow over the celebration, Clara and I navigated the complicated social waters together. We shared quiet glances across crowded outdoor tables, laughed at inside jokes created in real time, and supported each other through uncomfortable conversations with relatives who remembered me only as Chloe's failed past. But every time my eyes met Clara's, the lie felt less like a deception and more like a profound discovery. The proximity forced upon us by the single room, the shared secret, and the bright reality of the day dismantled the walls we had built around our hearts over 5 lonely years. We were two broken people who had spent half a decade hiding from our pasts, suddenly finding peace in the middle of a storm, completely bathed in the honest light of day. By late afternoon, as the daylight began to soften into a gentle golden glow across the estate grounds, the truth inevitably came to light. Chloe, unable to contain her suspicion, confronted Clara in the sunlit corridor near the conservatory, accusing her of using me to hurt her and calling our relationship a pathetic fabrication. Standing around the corner, I heard Clara's calm, steady voice cut through the tension. She didn't yell or make excuses. Instead, she admitted that while our arrangement had started as a desperate mistake, her feelings were no longer a lie. She explained how my presence had shown her what real support felt like, how I had treated her with a gentle respect she had never experienced, and how she was no longer willing to hide in anyone's shadow. Listening to her words under the warm rays of the afternoon sun, my heart hammered against my chest with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. I stepped into the corridor, looking directly at Chloe without anger, bitterness, or lingering pain. I gently took Clara's hand, feeling her fingers tremble slightly before anchoring securely in mine. I looked Chloe in the eyes and explained that the past was where it belonged, and that the man who had walked away 5 years ago was not the man standing here today. I told her that Clara deserved honesty, respect, and a love that was brave enough to stand in the light, and that I was no longer playing a role. The charade was over, not because we were exposed, but because the truth had finally set us free. Chloe stood silent, realizing that her power over our lives had completely dissolved in the warm daylight of that quiet hallway. We walked out of the hotel together into the brilliant, golden late afternoon sun, leaving behind the expectations, the old ghosts, and the heavy burdens of who we used to be. Sitting together on a wooden bench overlooking the rolling hills of the estate, bathed in the remaining rays of daylight, Clara looked at me with eyes full of quiet hope and asked what would happen next now that the lie was finished. I smiled, reaching out to gently wipe away a single tear from her cheek, feeling the soft warmth of her skin under the clear sky. I told her that the fake engagement was over, but if she would allow it, I wanted to start something real, a journey built on truth, mutual respect, and the incredible, unexpected connection we had discovered together. Sometimes, the universe strips away our carefully crafted plans and pushes us into uncomfortable, terrifying situations just to show us where we truly belong. It forces us to confront old wounds in the bright light of day so that we can finally heal and move.